Hi, everyone. We're back with Dr. K Tap. Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Lisa. So good to be here.
Dr. Dr. K Tap is the founder of Glow Coaching, and we are so honored to have her here today. So I'm going to get out of the way and let her tell you her story.
What if the very thing you've been putting last, your wellness, is the exact thing that unlocks your next level of leadership? When we think about the word leadership, we often think about how we lead other people. But we forget the important fact that in order to lead others well, we must first lead ourselves from within with intention. During our time together, I'm going to challenge how you think about leadership, not as something you do, but as something you embody. You leave with a new lens, a simple practice, and a shift that might just change how you lead from this moment forward. Today, I'm not going to talk to you about team building, increased communication, or how you can increase your productivity. This is a time of introspection for you. High achieving women, we're taught to push, to perform, to prove our worth, but at what cost? I want to have a heart to heart with you without any slides. Yes, you will gain a new perspective today, but I want this time to be more about introspection. Taking account of how you are currently leading your life and the first steps to start leading differently. I want you to begin to think about leadership from a wellness-centered perspective. And we're going to be using the LEAD framework. But before we dive into the framework, I think it's important to differentiate between health and wellness. We use them interchangeably. Yes, they are connected, but they're not the same. So, first of all, health is the state of being free from illness or injury. It's the overall condition of a person's mind and body. And the definition from the World Health Organization is that it is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. So that is health. Wellness, on the other hand, is an active process. It's a process of becoming aware of, as well as making decisions toward a more successful existence. It is a dynamic and a holistic concept that emphasizes lifestyle changes, preventive care, and personal growth to enhance your quality of life. So therefore, wellness is self-directed. It is ever evolving. It is proactive rather than reactive. So just in summary, health is the state and condition of where you're in. Wellness is an active process. All right? Not too long ago, I was living in the same cycle that so many high achieving women find themselves in. On the outside, I was accomplished, a Mayo Clinic trained, board certified physician, checking every box of what success should look like. But behind the scenes, a different story. I was running on empty. The stress, the pressure to perform, and the endless giving to everyone else left me depleted. It left me disconnected from myself and even from my own health. Eventually, I faced not just professional burnout, but also a personal health crisis that made me realize that something had to change. You see, at that time, I had been diagnosed with end-stage renal disease for about 20 years. I had had a kidney transplant that was not very successful. And it was around this time that it was time for me to return to dialysis. And it was at this turning point, it forced me to pause and to reevaluate the true wellness, what true wellness and leadership meant to me. I realized that success without alignment is not success at all. And I made the bold choice. Really, I had to be forced into this situation where I now had to honor my body, reclaim my energy, and integrate holistic practices into how I live and lead today. So instead of pushing harder, I learned how to align my health, my purpose, and my leadership so I could thrive from the inside out. And what I had realized is as this shift was taking place within my health, as I was returning back to dialysis, there was also a shift that was taking place in my career as well. Because on dialysis, it drains your energy. And I knew that I would no longer be able to work in the clinical space as a primary care physician. And I love taking care of my patients. And what I realized is that light bulb moment. Oh, I'm actually coaching my patients. I'm not one to write prescriptions right away. I want to get to the root cause of what's going on with them, whether it is physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. And so I knew that at this time, there was going to be a shift taking place in my career. And that is how I began this journey of coaching. And so today, what I do is I help high achieving, purpose-driven women leaders to do the same through my signature framework, using a holistic approach by empowering them to create calm, confidence, and clarity within their lives, letting go of the hustling harder, but instead leading from a sense of wholeness and alignment. Because when you align your wellness with your leadership, you don't just perform better. Guess what? You live better and you lead with impact, authenticity, and ease. So it's time to let go of the performance identity, the people pleasing, the perfectionism. Any of that resonate with you? The way that you can let go of these things is through the power of the pause. So right now, I want you to reclaim all of you, not just the productive you. So who are you without your title, without your achievements? Ask yourself, what do you need to let go of? And what do you want to welcome in? Because burnout isn't the end. It's a signal. Because in order to lead differently, you have to let go of the baggage. That baggage could be self-doubt, anxiety, the perfectionism I spoke about before, the fear, the unforgiveness, the proving of your worth. Letting go of all of that. If you truly desire to lead and create a life of ease, calm, and clarity, creating that space for you. So the first in the lead framework is the L in letting go. Again, letting go of the perfectionism, letting go of the people pleasing, letting go of the performance identity, letting go of the proving. It is definitely a journey to go from proving yourself to someone else to proving to yourself who you are by embracing your self-worth. And so that is the second point. The E in the lead framework is to embrace your worth. What I've realized is that many women desire more for themselves, but deep down, they don't believe that they are worthy to receive more. I see this over and over again. There is this root of a lack of self-worth that stems typically from an emotional injury that they have carried since childhood. This emotional injury could show up as abandonment. It could show up as neglect. It could show up as the loss of a loved one that was near and dear to them. And so there is this link I have seen that there is between the lack of self-worth and the emotional injury, leaving people to experience a cycle or a pattern over and over again. And they keep asking themselves, why does this keep happening to me? What is really going on here? Whether it is in their finances, their relationships, the career, or the purpose-driven work that they're doing. It's because they are emotionally unfit. So I've been learning about this emotional fitness, because we think about physical fitness all the time. We see it everywhere we go because that's something that we can see with our eyes. But the emotional fitness, it hides behind the physique. It hides behind the physical. So it's much harder to identify as well as to deal with. And that's one of the reasons why I have really transitioned from just working and helping people on their physical health and wellness, because that emotional piece is missing. And being an emotional fitness coach is where we extract data from when you were a child. What was the emotional pain that has caused you now to relive things over and over again? The pattern that you are trying to figure out, why does this keep happening to me? And getting unstuck from that and really extracting what is the gift or gifts that I am to give from this pain that was caused during childhood. So it's really interesting to be in this space of helping women in this way as they become successful leaders. Because what's important to realize is that you're not defined by what happened in your past. You are not defined by your past circumstances. You learn and you grow from them, but it doesn't define who you are right here and right now. And as an emotional fitness coach, guiding women on the journey to let go of the shame, let go of the guilt, and step into their true essence, embracing their self-worth, they realize and they connect with the fact that they were born with greatness. I have this reminder here, and it's the quote from Rumi, that you were born with greatness. You were. So it's time to understand your worth on a deeper level and step into your power. It's not about what has happened to you, but how you can grow through the situation and rise to your true essence. It's time that we take responsibility for how we want to move forward and live our lives. Your success is a measurement of your inner strength. I remember feeling like I was reliving the same New Year's over and over again. I kept feeling as if there was something that was missing. I was feeling stuck. I loved taking care of my patients, but I was experiencing the burnout. And I realized, you know what? I do not want to feel the same way next year this time. I deserved more than the burnout. I deserved more than feeling stuck with where I was. And so I had to look at my life in a different way. And I welcome you to look at your life in a holistic way. When we hear the word holistic, sometimes we think of herbals. People have their own definition of what holistic is. But I want you to think of holistic as a whole person approach, the whole of who you are, not just your physical wellness, but there are 8 dimensions of wellness that I want to introduce to you today. So yes, you have your physical wellness, you have your mental and your spiritual wellness, your occupational, your financial wellness, your intellectual wellness, your environmental wellness, your relational wellness. All of these things are a part of you with you at the center. So connecting the pieces of the puzzle together is important. Too often we separate our work life from our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health. We're intellectual beings. We know that they're connected, but are we connecting those pieces of the puzzle together? So you are the only one that can lead your life by knowing who you are, by trusting yourself more, by embracing your self-worth, and stepping into your power as that emotionally fit woman that you are. So what does success mean to you? Forget about what society says success should be. The shoulds. Let the shoulds go. What does success mean to you? For me, success means that I am leading a life of alignment in all of these 8 dimensions of wellness. It's about excelling in alignment. We're letting go of the perfectionism. Remember, we spoke about that before. But it's about being on that journey of alignment. And what happens? You live a life of peace, of ease, of calm. And I'm here to tell you that you can live that way, because whatever I speak about, whatever I coach about, whatever I train about, it's because I'm a living example of that. So in order to do that, to lead with more of an alignment journey as an aligned leader, you have to become aware of where you currently are. And looking at that in a holistic way, those 8 dimensions of wellness that I was speaking about. Have you ever heard the term, when it rains, it pours? When one thing seems to happen, there's so many different things that are happening at the same time. Again, wondering, what is really going on here? Why is this all happening to me? But maybe that's not the question to ask. So I'll give you an example of when it rains, it pours. I migrated to the US from Jamaica to start college. So I was around 18 years of age. And I always knew I wanted to become a physician. And so I was in pursuit of that career as I migrated to the US. And it was in my second year of college when I became very, very sick. I was previously healthy, hardly needed to go to the doctor unless it was checkups, but this time it was different. And I was feeling sick for weeks and weeks on end, continued to feel sick after going to the nurse. And I ended up with a diagnosis of end-stage renal disease. So being a 19-year-old, new country, on this journey of becoming a physician, and in my lap was now this diagnosis of end-stage renal disease. And one of the things I had to learn really early, what I had to become aware of, which is the third point, is that I had to accept what was happening. I had to look at things in a holistic way of what is really happening here. I had to be honest with myself about where I needed help? And was I willing to receive help from others to help me on this journey within my health? I realized and I was aware, I'm not on this earth alone. I'm not supposed to be doing this alone. That's why I have my friends, my family, my college community, my mom, everybody. But it's really being aware of, yes, this was happening to me, but there was a deeper meaning below the surface. So I want you to visualize an iceberg, okay? And think about something that's going on in your life right now that is challenging for you. And I want you to think about that iceberg, and what is on the surface of the water, that is the chaos, the challenge, the problem that is happening in your life right now. For me, that was the diagnosis that was given to me. But what I was also aware of is that what was on top of the surface of the iceberg wasn't the full picture. There was much more that was going on below the surface. The iceberg was much bigger below the surface. And so I asked myself, there's a reason why I'm going through this situation. Not just focusing on the problem, not just focusing on what's on top of the iceberg, but really being open to the answer about what is the message in the mess. I realized that there was so much more for me to learn within myself on this journey with this diagnosis. It wasn't just about the diagnosis. It was about me going through this, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, all of those 8 dimensions that I spoke about before, and learning that this is a growing opportunity for me to evolve and to share the experience with other people and what I've learned and continue to learn from the experience in a holistic way. So I want you to know, if there's anything that you're going to take away from this lead framework, is that know that there is something deeper going on at the root. And when you're not distracted by just the problem alone, but you're open to what the answer is going on at the root, or the iceberg below the surface, you will receive the answer. Now, there's a lot more depth to this topic, of course, that I don't have time to cover today, but I've been inspired earlier this year, to put together a free guide that allows you to take account of the inner aspects of your life, to become more aware, to gain clarity of where you currently are and who you want to become. It's called the Alignment Audit. And you get an opportunity to gain access to it a little bit later on in the talk today. But it's where you're able to pause, the power of the pause, and really reflect on the different aspects of your life and how you're truly feeling. Do you feel in alignment? Is there work to be done? And what is that next step that you can take? So in this moment, I want you to ask yourself a few questions. Number 1, are you operating from a space of high functioning disconnection? What does that mean? On the outside, you are doing what you have to do, what you need to do, what you think you need to do, but there's a piece missing inside of you. You don't know what that is, but you're just going, and you're forgetting to just be. Second question, what is success for you without fulfillment? So it goes back to the question about, what does success mean to you? Now, your success should align with your core values. And your core values should align with your vision. Do you see how all of that connects together? So what is success without fulfillment? What is the point? Third question. Is the burnout masked as drive? Is it masked as motivation? It goes back to our second point, E, embrace your worth. When you know that you are worthy, you don't burn yourself out, because there is another way for you to lead with alignment. So in order to lead a more aligned life, for me, I had to be firm in the decisions that I made moving forward. And you should too. So we have to decide. And in order to decide, we have to be clear. So again, going back to the success, being clear on what your core values are, making sure that your core values connect with your vision. And when you have clarity of your values and your vision, then you're able to make decisions moving forward towards that vision because you have that clarity. The decision fatigue is real. It is so real when we are burnt out, when we have so much to do. We don't pause to think about, why am I doing the thing that I'm doing? Do I have to do that thing? It's so important to ask yourself the question, is this aligned with my values, or am I doing this to prove something? So again, in order to lead a more aligned life, you have to be firm in the decisions that you make in order to move forward. And that comes with clarity of mind. So the fourth point is in the framework, in the lead framework, is D. Decide. Decide. Decide that there's more in life. Decide that there's more in life and it shouldn't be at the expense of your health and well-being. Realize that you are worthy to experience life in the fullest, in the most maximal capacity. I still remember the day I finished my residency at the Mayo Clinic. And it wasn't the typical celebration because my journey wasn't typical. During residency, I was going through dialysis, later got the transplant, but there were many, many complications in between. And those complications left me 6 months behind. And yet somehow, with all of that was going on, I became chief resident. But at my farewell, one of my colleagues handed me a small stuffed Wonder Woman doll. It was a kind gesture, a way to say, you're strong. You made it despite everything that was going on. But when I looked at that toy, I felt something deeper, because in that moment, being a Wonder Woman didn't feel like something I wanted to celebrate. It felt like a role that cost me my peace. Fast forward to recently, I found that same toy buried in a box. And this time, instead of tossing it aside, I decided to just place it right here on my desk, propped up against my computer screen. Because now she reminds me not of how hard I fought, but of how deeply I've learned to care for myself. That Wonder Woman used to symbolize pushing through pain, showing strength at all costs, leading others while silently neglecting myself. But now she symbolizes something different. It's resiliency that is rooted in restoration, not depletion. This is what wellness leadership means to me. It's the courage to lead others well, because I've learned and I've decided to lead myself well first. I no longer live in fight mode. I live in flow, serving others without losing myself in the process. We all have a Wonder Woman story. The world celebrates our strength, our ability to juggle it all, to rise no matter what. But what if being a Wonder Woman didn't mean fighting battles? Instead, it meant choosing peace. What if strength looked like softness, looked like self-awareness, looked like stillness? You can rewrite your story. You can redefine what it means to be powerful, successful, and wholesome. Today, my Wonder Woman isn't the one who pushes through. No. She's the one who pauses, who breathes, and leads from alignment. I speak on multiple platforms and create transformative experiences to really help high-achieving women move from that chaos to the calm, to cultivate ease and connection, and to confidently lead their personal and professional lives. Doing so with authenticity and alignment. Why and how? Because they've truly connected with their essence from within. So find something. It could be a physical object that speaks to your soul, something that serves as a visual anchor to remind you of the woman you are becoming. It could be a photo, it could be a bracelet, a quote, or even like me, a small Wonder Woman doll. And let that symbol remind you that you can be ambitious and aligned. You can be successful with ease. You can lead with power and peace. Because being a well woman is the ultimate act of leadership. And as we wrap up, I want to remind you to let go of what no longer serves you, the people-pleasing, the perfectionism. Embrace your worth by being and becoming emotionally fit. Awareness. Become aware of where you are now and who you want to become. And D, decide to move forward in your greatness. Because when you lead from within, you create an environment where people feel safe, seen, and inspired. Not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And that changes everything. I'm Dr. K. Tapp. I am a Mayo Clinic trained physician, wellness leadership coach, and emotional fitness coach. I have over 10 years of experience in the health and wellness industry, and I help high-achieving women like you to let go of the overwork and burnout, to lead with more calm, confidence, and alignment. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with what if power was peace? What if power looked like peace? We are, I believe, so indoctrinated with the we have to fight every battle to get ahead, right? It's something that we've been taught. It's the man's world. It's the man's way. Fight, war, battles, all of that terminology.
Mm-hmm.
And what if leadership looked like peace and ease and community and caring and just helping each other, right? I think you're exactly saying what's been in my head for so long, and I thank you so much for just bringing that to everybody's attention, because I think it's important that we, as women, as leaders, is that we are going in that direction, and realizing that that is our power, that is our strength, to create this peace around the world, to create this nurturing environment for everybody where, the greatest women leaders that aren't out there screaming and fighting, and you know what I mean? They're the ones who make you feel safe. They're the ones who make you feel protected and cared for. So
Absolutely. The leading from within is so important. Just as you mentioned, right? The leaders we look up to, they're emotionally well from what we can see.
right.
There, right?
No, but most have done the work, right? They wouldn't have gotten to where they are without have done the work or doing the work. Yeah, it's so important, so important. And thank you very much for coming and sharing your message with us and your story. What an incredible story! And I'm a Wonder Woman fan as well. I have her all over the place as a little reminder. I think probably because she was probably one of the first woman warriors that was represented, right? In our worlds that we were aware of, that she was strong and she had a superpower, and she sort of was at the same level as all the supermen, that were out there, and it was like, wow. So yes, women can do it. So she's really a figure, but you've accomplished a great deal in your life, and you've been through a lot. And thank you so much for coming and sharing your story. I know that sharing stories isn't always easy, but there's so many people that need to hear your story and that need to be represented. So thank you so much.
Thank you too for having me. What you're doing here with She Is Me Global and putting on this conference, it's definitely needed for us women to come together collectively to empower ourselves, right? Where two or more are gathered, there's more of an impact.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, is making that impact and impacting as many women as possible through our shared voices and our community. So thank you for being part of that. I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Well, stay with us. We'll be back at the top of the hour, and Desange will be back. Will be with us. So stay tuned.